351! 351! Rover, sit! Hut! Hut!
He seems to have some difficulty letting go of the game.
All right. All right. Just like you see, two standing here to remain. Here with the pick six champ.
Sir.
Okay. Hey, Eric.
What's going on?
I got thoughts, man. I got thoughts. I got so much going on in my mind. I don't even really know where to start. But I say we just start with the championship games and what we saw over championship weekend or championship Sunday, I would say.
What's going on?
Yeah, so let's go with the first game, which in my opinion, going into it, I thought was going to be a horrible performance. Talk to us a little bit on what you saw in that game, because I was surprised, man.
Yeah, of course you saw it that way because you, along with almost every other NFL fan, were a bunch of haters on the Denver Broncos. But on the real, it was a close game. The Patriots were able to beat the Broncos 10-7. And honestly, I didn't get to watch this whole game, but I did get to watch the full second half. I think I watched like the last 2 minutes of the first half, and so I didn't even see a touchdown. But weather wasn't a factor until the second half because it wasn't snowing. It was actually very sunny, very bright day over there in Denver at the Mile High. And then after halftime, that's when snow started to get on the field. Honestly, even though it was such a low-scoring game, I enjoyed it because of the elements. And that's why on this channel, we praise the elements. We need the elements. All right? Because if it weren't for the elements, nobody would have I would have hated this game probably. But since they were there, it was awesome to see, man.
It was a complete winter wonderland over there. Okay, let me ask you this. Because we're gonna get to both teams on this, okay? But let me ask you this. Were you more impressed? Do you think it was the Broncos holding back the Patriots, or do you think the Patriots just weren't on their game?
I was telling you, man, don't sleep on that Broncos defense. They got Surtain as their cornerback. I mean, they have some key players on the Denver side on the Denver's defensive side. So, yeah, I mean, they did their thing, and what held them back happened to be Stidham, the backup quarterback. And I mean, you can't ask for much more of a better showing from the Broncos defense. Honestly, I thought they performed perfect, and they gave up one field goal and one touchdown. That one touchdown was off of a short field, so I don't know how much credit you want to give to or discredit you want to give to the Denver Broncos there, but I really like their defensive performance in that game. Very
when it comes to Stidham, the backup quarterback, I thought he did as good as you can do as a backup. Look. Obviously, would you want Bo Nix in there? Obviously, but for a backup quarterback, Eric, he impressed me. I was impressed with him.
He made a few plays, but then he also made a few mistakes, and those mistakes is what caused the Broncos the game inevitably. Okay, because one of those mistakes turned into a turnover and wound up a short field for New England, and they were able to capitalize and score a touchdown, I believe. So it was just those very few mistakes. I mean, literally, the Broncos defense was so good on Sunday that if they would have just scored that one touchdown, which they did, they could have just taken knees the rest of the game and they would have been fine. That's how good the Denver's defense was on Sunday. So it is unfortunate, man. Yeah, I mean, New England played who they faced. So, I mean, you can't necessarily discredit New England, although a lot of people could say, well, if Bo Nix was in there, the Broncos would have won. But hey, that's who they had at the end of the day. So,
do you say that? Would you say that?
Yeah.
Really? Had Bo Nix been in there?
Bo Nix was balling out against the Buffalo Bills. And I understand maybe the Buffalo Bills don't have the same defense as the New England Patriots because, I mean, New England does have a really good defense. You go back to when they played the Chargers, it was a straight shut-down game from that Patriots defense. They only gave up 3 points. So, yeah, New England does have a good defense, but Bo Nix was bringing in something different in that divisional matchup too.
I was completely like you said, don't sleep on the Broncos defense, and I didn't sleep on them. I just was like, wow, they impressed me above and beyond. I was like, holy smokes, man. Okay, because I was really impressed with Houston's defense. And I'm like, okay, man, that Houston defense. That's why I kept saying last week. I said, look, if the Patriots can get past Houston's defense, I thought, okay, they're gonna struggle, yes, of course, with Denver's defense, but I thought they passed the test with Houston's defense. But in reality, man, I thought Denver's defense looked better than Houston's defense. I'll say you, at least for those two matchups.
Oh yeah, definitely, because New England was able to capitalize and make more points out of the game against Houston, even though Houston did make more mistakes on the offensive side in that game, but still, that Denver defense was dominant. And yes, New England's defense was dominant as well, which is why they won the game, right? But it was a great defensive showdown. I enjoyed it, actually. I really did. Some people don't like that type of games where it's very low scoring. I actually really enjoyed the AFC Championship game. How did you feel about it, man?
Well, okay. First of all, I was going in there with very, very, very low expectations. Okay, so let's get that one out the way real quick. I enjoyed it. I loved it because I didn't think I did not think I was going to see that. I did not think I was. First of all, the winter wonderland, the snow coming down, I thought made it even better. But I did not think I was going to see that. I did not think it was going to be a close game. I thought it was going to be a complete blowout. I thought by halftime, everybody was going to just, kind of have the game just on in the background where they're enjoying their festivities. But no, man, it was a game to watch. And I don't think it was like that low scoring. I mean, it was a decent, look, in the beginning of the game, yes, it seemed like, holy smokes, is anybody going to score here? But I thought it kind of picked up a little bit. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Obviously, it didn't live up offensively to what the NFC Championship game is, and we'll get to that in just a second. But look, I enjoyed the AFC Championship game, especially because I thought it was going to be such a one-sided blowout. I was even kind of thinking like, should I do something else and just kind of have this game like on in the background? I did. I was like, maybe I'll just watch a movie and just kind of have this game like on one of my little small side TVs. I just kind of glance at it every now and then because I really thought, Eric, this was going to be a blowout, man. Shout out to the Broncos. And you know what? Look, shout outs to their offense as well. We're over here praising their defense, and they should be praised. But shout outs to that offense as well, man, because they actually made some good plays. I thought the backup quarterback did as good as a backup quarterback can do without being, a special QB. I mean, Tom Brady was a backup quarterback one time. With I think it was Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe gets hurt, and then they put in Tom Brady, and it's like, wow, there you go, right? The legacy begins. But no, man, the Broncos. Look, if Bo Nix were in there, would they have won that game? I guess we'll never know. Everybody says yes. I went in picking the Patriots. Even if Bo Nix was playing, I still would have picked the Patriots. I'm not so sure if I'd be confident with that pick. After seeing what happened, I'm not so sure if I'd be confident with that pick. If they do it all over again and say, okay, the only difference is we're getting a healthy Bo Nix and put him in there, man, you know what? I might have to reconsider my pick there, Eric.
Okay. Were you impressed by New England's performance? Enough with the Broncos' performance. Were you impressed from New England's performance? And are you sold on New England as far as being in the Super Bowl? Are they a legit Super Bowl team? Because I see a lot of people saying that they were fraudulent from their path to the Super Bowl. Because I don't know if you know this, but they had like top 5 in the least strength of schedule, I believe, this year. Something like that. So how do you feel about New England?
First of all, I hate them. Okay.
No.
Not so much anymore, but I think this is the beginning of the resurrection of my hatred for them. Okay. Um, I do think they deserve to be there. I do think they earned to be there. And I've heard I myself have not looked into it deeply like that, but I have been sold on them. I've told you that weeks ago. I said these guys, I think this is the team right here. I still feel that way. I still feel that way. They're playing the number 1 seed in the Denver Broncos. I still think Patriots, maybe they don't have the most elite offense, nor do they have the most elite defense, but they got some damn good offense and some damn good defense. And together they make a pretty elite team, man. I don't know if I would say they are the best team in all of the AFC or the best team in all of the NFL. But yeah, they're definitely in the conversation for this season. Oh, they definitely got to be in the conversation.
I agree. I think they're amongst the top. Whether or not they're at the actual top, I don't know. I mean, we're gonna find out next season, or we're gonna find out next Sunday. So that's gonna be interesting, man. But they do have a really good, well-rounded team. So I think they'll be good for a long time.
Eric, NFC Championship game. If people like numbers, this was the game for you.
Big numbers.
Holy smokes. Goodness gracious. I think both quarterbacks threw for over 300 yards or something like that. This game, Eric, offensively was like, it was such a shootout. It was so damn fun to watch, man. It was so fun to watch. And, learning a little bit more about Sammy D, I thought was pretty cool, man. I'll get to that in just a second. But what did you make about the NFC Championship game?
Well, first off, as a USC fan, I'm glad that Sammy D is finally getting his shine, man, because his career, not too long ago, looked like it was done. Okay, wow. He had that stint with the Jersey Jets. Then I believe he went to Carolina after that and got benched. It looked like his career was done. Then he went to San Francisco, played a few games, and then in Minnesota, that's where his career really resurrected, although it didn't end the way that he wanted it to with that end of the season and wound up getting booted in the first round. He proved himself in this game. He did. And I'll admit, I was wrong. When the lights were brightest in the NFC Championship game, he performed. And I'm glad I was wrong.
Yeah.
So it was refreshing to see, man. And it was a 5-star game. It really was.
Yeah. I mean, I was rooting for I was about to say Sami Zayn. No, Sammy D. I was rooting for Darnold as well. And just simply for that reason, just simply because he's a USC guy and he hasn't been put in the best situations in the NFL. But hey, no. most people are not put in the best situations, right? I'm glad he stuck with it. I'm glad he stuck through, and I think he's found a home. I really do, man. I think they love him up there in Seattle.
Seattle has a great system too. They really do.
These boys, man. This can be a nice little stretch run when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. I would say with the NFC Championship game, it was such a shootout, high scoring, so much back and forth. And let me ask you this about the Rams, right? What do you think, Sean McVay? What do you think about him? Where people were thinking like, hey, if he doesn't make it, he's got to go.
I don't agree with that. I think he's been doing a hell of a job over there with the Rams. So I still think he's one of the better head coaches in the NFC. maybe not so much the best anymore. Maybe Seattle's head coach is probably the best now. I mean, they went head to head and the Seahawks won. So take that however you want to take it. So no, I think McVay has a lot that he could still do in the league as a head coach, man. I still think he belongs because he's still a really smart mind in the game.
I agree. I agree. He's got a great head between his shoulders when it comes to that. Do you think he got out coached? Do you think that's what it was? Do you think Seattle winning that game? Do you think it had to do with coaching?
It was a chess match.
Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna say that he got out coached. It was just a chess match, and the one team, which is Seattle, just happened to win because there were mistakes on both sides, and I want to bring those up. Okay, you had the muff punt by the Rams, which was huge, and that led into a touchdown. And then on Seattle's side, you had a unsportsmanlike conduct that happened after a 3rd and 15 or something like that, I believe. And that turned into 7 points for the Rams. So there were mistakes in this game from the teams. I honestly, I think the Seattle one was worse because it was just it was so unnecessary to happen. But which one of those do you think was worse? I know obviously one of them kind of cost them the game, but still pretty bad.
I mean, you're talking about between the muff punt and the unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah.
Which, okay, I would say this. Look, the muff punt is like, okay, you can work on that. Okay. Unsportsmanlike conduct, that's a disciplinary problem. I think whenever there's anybody that does something like that, that's now a wild card. That's now on the back of your head. Like, okay, is this going to be happening with this person? You know, so I think that's worse because I think you can work on the muff punt. So anything that has to do with discipline when it comes to unsportsmanlike conduct, that to me, that's always like, that's not good, man. That's not good because how do you work on that? Do you know, therapy? I mean, how do you work on that? How do you, it's like the Incredible Hulk, right? When Bruce is trying not to turn into Hulk, he goes and sees that old man, they slapping him in the face. And it's like, you got to learn how to control it. You got to learn. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. You know, which one's worse for you?
Oh, the unsportsmanlike.
Yeah.
Given the situation, they got the stop too. That's what makes it even. The drive should have been over. Defense was walking off the field. That guy wasn't. He was over there. And he goes to the sideline too. He goes towards the sideline. You're not going to get away with that. Because if you're taunting at just a player, you may get away with that, right? But you're over there walking towards the sideline, right by the sideline. That's 10 times out of 10, man. They're going to throw that every time. So that was bad. Because, again, the muff punt, I mean, it happens. Of course, you don't want that to happen, but that is a part of the game. But stuff like that, when it comes to discipline stuff, like you said, I mean, it's hard. It's more hard to control.
Yeah, and that's because somebody got under his skin. I don't think that's just because, hey, you know what, I made a great player, whatever. Now I'm gonna, on showboat. It's somebody's getting under his skin. So now it's like, okay, I got to get back. I got to get back at them. Show them what's up, and that's the problem. People getting under your skin. You gotta be able to just let that go. Like, hey, we're here to win, and that's that. But it's easy to say when you're not out there on the field. But all right, Eric. So okay. What do you think about the Rams now? Okay, they're out. What do you think about the Rams now? Still one of the top dogs in the NFC going into next year?
Let's see what Matthew Stafford decides to do. That's going to determine a lot. Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback. If they lose him this offseason, they're not going to have a very high draft pick. Maybe they could go after a guy like Malik Willis, maybe a guy like Mac Jones. So, yeah. I mean, if Matt Stafford comes back, I think they'll be in the same area that they're in now. If he doesn't, that might cause a little bit of a struggle. But then again, the Rams system and their offense is going to work well with any good quarterback. So we'll see.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you. Okay, so Matthew Stafford, right? People want him to, get the MVP, and I'm not saying he shouldn't. Yeah, he definitely earned it. To replace him, do you need another Matthew Stafford-esque type, or do you just need a good quarterback?
Under that specific system that they have now, I think they just need a good quarterback. And they can find one in free agency this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, I kind of stand with you on that. It's what I've said. It's what I said about the Seahawks years ago when they had the Legion of Boom, right? It's kind of like I never thought Russell Wilson was a great quarterback. I never thought he was an elite quarterback. I thought he was a good quarterback surrounded with a great team, and he was part of that. Obviously, if he was a horrible quarterback, it would definitely hurt the team. But when the team is great, I think you just get a good quarterback. I didn't say decent. I didn't say average. I said good. I'm just saying you don't need an elite. You get a good quarterback. And I think that's just part of the greatness of the team. And I'm with you on that. I think if Stafford goes down, or I'm sorry, if Stafford decides to hang it up, right? If you can get yourself a good quarterback that can somewhat fall in right with that system. He doesn't need to be an elite quarterback, but just a good quarterback. The team, the system, everything is great right there. Yeah, they can still make another push, man. So, yeah, I do. Regardless what Stafford decides to do, I still think the Rams are going to be one of the top dogs in the NFC for sure, man. And in that division, man, it might have to be another wild card, though. I will say that.
Seattle's probably going to be here to stay. But if Matthew Stafford retires, honestly, the perfect guy to put at the quarterback position is probably Malik Willis. I think so. That's what I would say.
Is the 12th man back?
Absolutely. 12th man is back, and they're going to be back for quite some time. That is for sure. Because I don't see Seattle going anywhere. They have a young team. They have a good quarterback. They have arguably the best wide receiver in the league. I think statistically, he was the best wide receiver in the league. Good running back duos. I mean, good defense. They have good everything. They're good everywhere. Really good head coach. So, yeah, this team is going to be here to stay, man. That's for sure. And any team in the NFC, they're probably going to have to go through Seattle, or at least play Seattle in the playoffs the next upcoming seasons, at least.
12th man definitely back, and back with vengeance. So we'll get into the Super Bowl matchup next week. But Eric, let's talk about just a little bit of the news since then, right? I mean, is there anything that sticks out to you? Because I got thoughts, man. I'm actually a little upset. We all know what happened with the Steelers. We all know what happened with Mike Tomlin. We haven't talked about this yet. I know you dropped a video about it, but you and I personally haven't talked about it.
Okay, we literally never talked about it. Like we didn't have a phone call or in person, so this is going to be the first time we talk about it at all. Just so you guys know.
Let's make that very 100% clear. What you guys are about to see is the first time that Eric and I ever have a conversation about this. Okay, Eric. Mike McCarthy, who didn't coach this season, right? Did he coach this? Did he coach last season? When was the last season he coached?
Yeah, he coached last season. His last season was his last year with Dallas.
Okay. He's from Pittsburgh, right? I thought that maybe the Rooneys were thinking, hey, listen, we're getting one of our own, so the fans are going to love it. I have yet to see anybody that is down with this. Now, I have seen at best, and I'm talking about at best, I've seen Steeler fans say, I don't like it, but I'll give it a shot. I'll wait to see what happens before I pass judgment. I don't like it, but I'll give it a chance. That's at best, Eric. I haven't heard anybody say like, hey, this was a good hire. this was a good hire. He's older. I look personally, I don't like it. I don't like it. I
Okay.
want them to bring in somebody new, just like they did with Mike Tomlin. Tomlin, I believe, I think he was a defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. I rather want that. Eric, are the Steelers, are the Roonies too sold on we are not going to have a rebuilding season? Are they too stuck on that?
I think they're scared.
Of
I think they're afraid to rebuild. Like the rebuild word, it makes their hands shake. I think that's what the Steelers organization is doing. And they brought in some young coaches that could potentially be the head coach. Maybe that rebuild word was thrown out there and the organization just wasn't having it, wasn't feeling it. But Mike McCarthy is like a decade older than Tomlin, which was your previous head coach. So that in of itself, how does that make sense for one, right? And then two, he literally has the same track record. If you go and put Mike McCarthy and Mike Tomlin's track record side by side, they're almost identical. How is that going to change anything with this Steeler team? I don't know. I don't know exactly what the organization was thinking in that.
Now, I don't know the answer to this, but when he went to the Cowboys, when he went to them boys, did they give him the option to change up the whole staff? I don't know the answer to that. Because
I'm not sure.
Yeah, because here they're basically saying, hey, bring in who you want, which this is really what I am getting to here, Eric. This is exactly what I'm getting to here. They let go of my chewing gum, bubble gum, special teams coach, Danny Smith. He is gone. He is down there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not down with it. He was the last good damn thing on that coaching staff on an elite level, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
An elite level, he is gone. So Mike McCarthy could bring in all his minions, and maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm off by saying that, because who knows? He might come with the dream team. He might. But you let go of Danny Smith. And I'm having a really tough time here, Eric. I am.
That was the most heartbreaking thing about this whole thing, I think, is letting go of Danny Smith. Well, at least he's with your favorite quarterback now in Baker Mayfield, right? So you got to feel at least decent about it, right? that probably made you feel a little bit better about it, where you got the notification saying that he went to Tampa Bay. You're like, okay, you know what, this sucks, but at least he's with my boy Baker. Is that what you were thinking?
I hope they really gel together to the point where Baker Mayfield is on the sideline whenever he's not on the field. He's on the sideline just chewing a gang of bubble gum. Like, I would love to see him and Danny Smith just on the sideline, just chewing away, man, just chewing away. But I really, man, that really hurt. That really hurt. But Eric, what have you heard on the day-to-day updates on the new team that they're bringing in, a coaching team that they're bringing into the Steelers?
They got a new defensive coordinator from the Raiders. And from what I understand, I don't know that much about him, but from what I understand, he was pretty solid as the Raiders DC. I know, or coaching the Raiders. I'm not sure if he was a DC or not. That's how little I know about him. But the Raiders defense was good from a specific stretch of time when he was a part of that team. The last 2 years, not so much. But then again, it's not like they've had a lot of talent outside of Max Crosby. It's been kind of lackluster for the Raiders side. I mean, that whole organization was kind of going through it the last 2 years. They might have some upbringing in the next few years. We'll see. We'll see how they decide to do with the Raiders. But I think it was a solid pickup. But then again, I don't know him too much to really determine that. A lot of people are saying it was a pretty solid pickup. And that's what matters a lot. Okay, the coordinators, not just the head coach, the coordinators, because the Steelers needed a completely different coaching staff, in my opinion, except for Danny Smith, because they just weren't cutting it. That's how I feel about it. So at least we're getting a coaching staff, I guess. Again, I still don't think this was the right move from the Steelers organization. I would have much rather them get a guy like Shula, someone like that. I know he was a defensive-minded coach. A lot of people wanted an offensive-minded coach. We could have had Shula and maybe Shieldhouse as the OC. Honestly, I thought that was the best option for the Steelers, but nonetheless, man, of course I'm going to be rooting for McCarthy, wanting him to do good because I want to see my team do good, right? I just don't think it was the right option, man.
Yeah, I thought Shula would have been good. If it were up to you, would you want to get an offensive mind coach or a defensive mind coach?
See, the game has changed a lot, and I agree with people on that. I don't think it matters as much as people say, because DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded coach, and if CJ Stroud was on his A game, they probably are in the Super Bowl this upcoming weekend. That's all they needed.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like life or death whether you get an offensive-minded or defensive-minded, because defenses still win championships when it's all said and done. You're still going to need a good defense. I would have minded just a younger guy. Okay. Steelers are very known for their defense. So it would have made sense for them to get a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just being a lifelong Steeler fan, I think it's always just defensive minded. But as you said, the game has changed. Does it really matter? Maybe there was a bigger chasm once upon a time. I think it still matters, Eric. I just don't think there's a big chasm the way it used to be. I think now that chasm has kind of shrinked a little bit. And now it doesn't matter as much. I still think it matters somewhat, but it just doesn't matter as much the way it used to once upon a time. I wonder how the players are receiving all this, man. That's kind of where I'm like, okay, man, because it's like you said, it's not just the head coach. It's all the coaching staff now. So all the guys that you build relationships with and all that stuff, you're coming into a whole new team. You're coming into a whole new coaching staff. You're getting a whole new coaching staff where some of the players, especially some of the veteran players, are going to be like, hey, wait a second, hold on. This is how we do things here. You guys are the rookies here. I think that it's I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, right? Because they definitely need to shake things up. For dang sure. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I will say it's a concerning thing. It's concerning, but it could turn out to be something good. And like you, I am going to be rooting for McCarthy. Can he be the future? Look, I take pride that the Steelers, they don't go through head coaches like that. They don't change head coaches the way people change socks. So if it's going to be McCarthy, I hope he's good to stick around for at least 7 years, but it's got to be worth it. It's got to be him making progress. It's got to be him going and like Mike Tomlin says, the standard, right? That's the standard. There's a standard, right? Okay, well, check this out, McCarthy. Mike Tomlin set the standard, and it's nothing under 500. But if there's a rebuilding season, without them saying that, because check this out, Eric, just because they don't word it doesn't mean that they're not doing it. You get what I'm saying? So they may, be like, all right, behind closed doors, look, it's going to be a rebuilding season. All right. So that's what we're going to do. We're just not going to air that out publicly. But I think Rooney, I think he's He's a very prideful man, and I think he means what he says. He doesn't believe in rebuilding seasons, man. Do you want a rebuilding season?
Okay. All right. Of course, I don't want to see the Steelers suck. Nobody, no fan of any team wants to see their team do bad. But the Steelers, like I've said already, the Steelers are, sure, they're not bad. They're good. But they are so far behind being a true contender in the AFC, it's not even close. When in the last, 7 years, 8 years, have you been like, man, this team is close. This team is so close. They're missing one piece, because there's been times where people have been saying, oh, the Steelers are missing one piece, whether it be quarterback, receiver, what have you. Every single time they get into the playoffs, it's almost like they don't belong there because they're not competing in the playoffs, and that's where it matters. They don't look like legit contenders, man. And when you're in that situation, the best thing to do is to rebuild. It should just blow it up completely. That's how I see it. And they got to step into the 21st century, quite honestly, man.
And I think they are blowing it up, at least with the coaching staffs. I mean, they are blowing it up. They're going to bring something.
Okay, but they had to. They had to because Tomlin stepped down. And Art Rooney II made it known that they were going to stick with Mike Tomlin. So they didn't move on from Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin moved on from the Steelers. Those are the facts. So they wouldn't have done all this, I don't think.
And why did Mike Tomlin step down? What's your theory on why he stepped down?
Okay. It was his words, apparently. He said that it was best for him to step down. That's what he told the players.
Right. And he says something about family or anything. Look, I'm going to call BS on all this stuff, okay? I just think he felt the heat. I just think he felt that the fan base didn't want him anymore. And look, you and I have been pretty fair when it came to Mike Tomlin, but look, let's be honest, man. There's been fans for quite a few years now that have been really, blaming him. And I think that wave just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think he just said, you know what? I don't think it's worth it. He doesn't have love anymore. He doesn't have love there anymore. That's it, man. Every time something was going to go wrong with the Steelers, it was going to be on Tomlin. All the blame was going to be on Tomlin. So I think just for him, he strikes me as a very, very smart individual. Okay. I'm sure he's taking care of his money. All right. Does he coach again? Let me ask you that, Eric. Does he coach again?
I think he's done.
I
don't think he should coach again either.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you next. Okay, would it hurt you? Would you feel some kind of way if he coaches again?
No.
I would. Oh, I would. Look. Okay. You stepped down because it was in your best interest, which can mean so many different things. It can mean so many different things. Me, myself, personally, I think he stepped down because he just didn't want to hear it anymore. That's it. The fans had turned their back on him. Nobody can do anything wrong except Mike Tomlin. Everybody turned their back on him. You and I, Eric, were his last, I wouldn't even say fans, but the last, friends that he had. So, and we turned our back on him too.
Yeah.
We fought other Steeler fans for quite a few years.
But we tried. We tried.
Right. Okay. And we ended up turning our back. I just don't think he felt the love anymore. It was all him. I think he said, you know what? That's it. I'm out. Now, if he goes and coaches somewhere else, oh yeah, I'm going to feel a certain way. Absolutely. Yes. Because I want Tomlin. As much as everybody came down on him, and I came down on him towards the end as well. You know what, man? He's a Steeler. I don't know how great of a head coach anybody's really going to rank him when you put everything into perspective, it's like, well, the Super Bowl he won, that was still Bill Cowher's team. Things, just stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But overall, he's a Steeler. So if he goes and coaches somewhere else, he's older, but he's not old. Coaches begin. I mean, heck, Bill Belichick. He's, gosh, I don't know how old that dude is, man. But yeah, I will feel a certain way. Then I'll just feel like, you know what? The heck with you, Tomlin, because it's just like you were a Steeler, man. You were Steeler, but I get it. I get it. It's like, well, wait a second. How are you going to feel like that towards Tomlin if you and the rest of the Steeler fans pushed him out? I understand that. It's kind of a hypocritical stance. So I do get it, but nonetheless, overall, it's not about one man. It's about the team. It's about the team winning, and he needed to go, and the coaching staffs, with the exception of Danny Smith, needed to go, and I'm gonna be real, man. When I first heard the news, I was devastated. I was just like, I'm not talking about the Mike Tomlin thing. The Mike Tomlin thing was one thing, but the McCarthy thing, I was just kind of like, oh gosh, But now, Eric, to a certain degree, I'm a little excited. Because I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, there's a little bit of excitement there, but I'm not convinced that we're going to get something different, especially when they're flirting with the idea of getting Aaron back. Not to say that I don't agree with that, or not to say I completely disagree with that or hate it, but there has to be a better option out there, man. Other than a 42-year-old quarterback. Again, I threw it in a name like Malik Willis, a guy like Mac Jones. You have national championship winner in Will Howard on the sideline, who hasn't touched a football or the field yet. I think you could give that guy a shot. And honestly, I don't know, man. I don't really trust the organization right now and where they're going, because when you bring up Steeler culture, when you bring up the winning ways of the 1970s, when you bring up the winning ways of the 2000s, I don't see that at all. I don't see that culture right now. I don't, and I haven't seen it. I've told you this quite a few times. I haven't seen it in some time. We saw it still with Big Ben. Since 2022, man, it's been hard to say, yeah, this is Steeler football. This is the Steeler way, because I don't know, man. It just doesn't feel the same right now.
Yeah, no, the Killer Bees, big game James Harrison, Debo, and Palomalu, and yeah, man, after that it just started fading away, man. So it'd be cool, it'd be nice if they could get Debo as one of their coaches, maybe a linebacker coach or something.
Yeah, that guy's passion, man. He wants what's best for the Steelers. You could tell on his podcast.
He wants in. Debo wants in. If you could get him as a linebacker coach,
that'd be great.
Yeah, it'd be great, man. He will bring some form, because all these other guys, they're gonna have to come in and see what's up with the Steelers and see if they could figure out if their way mesh with the Steelers' way and see what's the best option and try to mold it together. But Debo can be that guy where it's like, hey, I am Steeler football. Okay, here, let me help you guys out here. All right, he could be the one that bridges the gap with the new coaches and the players, because the new coaches are going to look at him as a coach and say, like, okay, check this out, Debo, you are Steelers football. Okay, so here we're going to kind of follow your lead a little bit. All right, this is what we got in mind. And Debo can say, like, okay, cool, let me show you a couple of things. This is the way we do things over here. Yeah, at the same time, the players can look at Debo and say, like, this guy is definitely Steeler football. Okay, so as long as we got Steeler football here, boom, he could bridge that gap between the new coaches and the players. As far as Aaron coming back, that was a big thing when McCarthy came in. Now it was just like, okay, does that mean Aaron's coming back? I mean, look, I don't think it's the worst decision, but I don't think it's the best decision either.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got time. We'll see what's up, man. But uh we still got the big game since we're not supposed to say the Super Bowl due
Right.
to copyright. But outside of that, Eric, anything else, man, before we wrap it up?
The Bills got their new head coach. Quite a few teams got their new head coaches. I know a lot of people aren't liking the Bills pickup in their new head coach. Maybe some tough days for Buffalo coming up. So we'll see what they decide to do there, man. Because I don't know that much about the guy that they picked up, but not a lot of people like that move.
And I don't even really think that was really a big issue for them, man. But then again, I don't want to make it seem like I keep up so much with Bills news, but well, we'll see. But we'll go ahead and we'll break down or preview the Super Bowl next week. Eric, are you going to be watching the Pro Bowl, man? For some weird reason, they're doing it on a Tuesday this year.
Yeah, man, that's because the Pro Bowl's on a decline. It's been on a decline for years. Do you know that Shador Sanders made the Pro Bowl? Did you know that?
That is awesome. That is great, man.
Hey, shout out to Shador, man. But I just don't know if he was a Pro Bowl caliber this season, at least.
You know what? Okay, how about just change the name? It doesn't have to be Pro Bowl. Just give me characters. That's it, man. Just give me the most exciting, fun characters that are gonna go out there and put on the show. In reality, yes, I don't need to see. It's a flag football game. I don't need to see, hey, the best to ever lace up the cleats. Like, no, man, come on. Let's just get all the guys that are out there just to have some fun. Heck, bring back Chad Ochocinco. Throw him out there, man. Let him get a couple of touchdown passes. I do like the competition, the passes, all that stuff, man. The obstacle course that they do, that stuff is fun. I'm into the Pro Bowl now. I thought the Pro Bowl was worse before. I actually like the Pro Bowl. I will be watching the flag football Pro Bowl, man. So it's fun now. I don't change the name. Don't call it the Pro Bowl.
Maybe they should do the Pro Bowl in the middle of the season.
No, because you could still have guys get hurt.
It's flag football.
You can still have guys get hurt, man.
That's true. That's true, but it's not very likely.
I played a game of flag football on Thanksgiving with your brother at a church, and we saw some dude get folded in half, man. He got folded like a folding chair. So I like where it's. I just don't get the Tuesday thing. Do it on Sunday. But oh well. Nonetheless, all right. Look, I will be watching. I think it is pretty fun. It's a lot more fun now than it was before. I'll put it like that. I'm not saying, man, I'm sitting at the edge of my seat to watch it, but I enjoy it more now than I did before. So.
And it's going to be in the beautiful city of Santa Clara, home of this year's Super Bowl.
That's right.
Santa Clara.
The home of Bad Bunny's halftime show. But we'll get to all that next week. All right, Eric, I'll see you next week, man, while we preview the big game. Go Steelers. I don't know, maybe I should shrink my
Steelers
screen here. All right. Catch you guys on the next snap.
351! 351! Rover, sit! Hut! Hut!
He seems to have some difficulty letting go of the game.